Hi there. So, who is a narcissist? This is one of the most interesting topics you can ever bump into. So, let's talk about it.
Let's go.
So, the name Narcissus comes from the Greek narcissos. It may be related to the Greek word nake. I don't know if the is the right pronunciation, but nake means numbness or stupor. Okay, yeah. So the word narcissist comes from ancient Greek mythology. Okay, so in the 19th centuries, in the late 19th centuries, the term narcissism was adopted in psychology to describe excessive love. Okay, so that's the reason why we always say that a narcissist only love themselves. Yes, so let's go. Let's go. Let's talk about Narcissus. Who was Narcissus and why Narcissus? This will let you understand the reason why we, we, we say that a narcissist only loves himself. He was a perfect example. So, in the Greek mythology, there was Narcissus, okay, who parent was told by a prophet that their son will have lived long only if he never knew himself. Okay, I guess you're wondering why. Yeah, this is the reason why. So he loved himself so much. He was always full of himself, knowing that he was looking beautiful. He was a very beautiful person. He kept rejecting every proposal, everybody who fell in love with him, who was admiring him, he always rejected, including Echo. So if you know the story of Echo and Narcissus, that's let's say it's a different topic, but Echo was deeply in love with him. Echo kept, admiring him. She followed him everywhere. And unfortunately, Narcissus turned Echo off. Like he totally told her, no, I'm not interested in you. I don't want you. Okay. So as a cursed nemesis, the god of retribution cursed Narcissus by making him fall in love with himself, with his own image. So, yes, one day he went to the lakeside. So, watching, when he saw his own reflection, he was so in love with himself. Like, he felt like this reflection is so beautiful, I can't even leave it. He lied there looking at himself, admiring himself till he wasted away totally. He died there. He couldn't leave his own reflection. That's how much he loved himself and how much he admired his own image. Incredible. Yeah, so he died there actually. He gone. And after his death, at the spot where he was lying, a flower, the flower Narcissus grew. That's the reason why, we call that flower narcissus, and that's where the term narcissism is coming from. So it's basically coming from, someone who loved himself. Let's look at the traits of a narcissist. So we have inflated self importance. They may exaggerate achievement or expect special treatment. So everything they say, most of the time, they do exaggerate on their stories and they feel like they have to get special treatment. Why not? They are the VIP. Who are you? You have to do everything for them. That's how they are. Then let's move to the next point. Constant need for admiration. They seek praise, validation, and attention. We've been saying this all along. They need attention. You need to praise them. You need to recognize how nice they look. Do you remember the story of Narcissus? Exactly. For him, all he cares about is his looks, how beautiful he is, how he admires himself. So, whoever you are, you have to admire your narcissist partner. This is what they are looking for. Then we have manipulative behavior. They may use others to get what they want. They are ready to use whoever just to get what they want, just to get where they want to go. You'll be used. I'm very sorry if you find yourself with a person like this, because everything that you are doing, know that you are doing it right for them. When they praise you, when they are happy with you, it's because you're doing everything right for them. Yes. Then we have self of entitlement. They believe they deserve more than others. Why not? They deserve everything. They've been through a lot. They are more special. They are better than you. They need to, they need more. I hope you understand. Then we have difficulty in handling criticism. Yeah. Even, they can easily get triggered. As you can see, they can get defensive, they get angry only if you try to critic. Small critics, they can't handle it. They can't. Why? Because they are supposed to be the ones who will notice your mistakes and not you seeing their mistakes. You have to get that right, okay? Mhm. Then we have lack of empathy. They struggle to understand or care about other people's feelings. They don't have that. They are zero on empathy. They literally zero on empathy. They don't see the reason why they have to understand your feelings. They don't see the reason why they have to, comprehend you. Why? It's about them, not about you. Why are we talking about you? We're talking about me. I'm the narcissist. I need the attention. You need to do everything I want. So to make everything very simple, in just few sentences or few words, let's say a normal person, let's say a person who is very confident, okay, who have a high level of confidence would be like, oh, I'm good at things. A narcissist would be like, I'm better than everyone and others don't matter. That's how it is. They don't care about whoever you are. It's all about them. You can never be better than them. That's how they are. So I guess, or I hope you see the difference. You can just separate the two between a confident person and a narcissist. Okay. Yeah. So let's move on. So personally, I will suggest that you read this book. This is one of the best book to understand who a narcissist is actually. Written by Thomas Erikson, surrounded by narcissists. So if you know Thomas Erikson, he's also the author of Surrounded by Idiots, a very interesting book, but just get yours, read it, and you will understand way much more. So these are some of the most important points that I think that Mr. Erickson really touched on his book, right? So here are some behaviors that he really highlighted in his book. So he mentioned manipulation and control. Okay, so a narcissist can twist situation on people to get what they want. So remember, we did talk about this just some seconds ago, some minutes ago. Whatever the situation is, they will always make sure that they are twisting everything. You always be wrong. Like you can hardly win with them if you're not careful. Yes. Then we have lack of empathy. Other people's feelings don't matter that much to them. They don't care about anyone else. We've been talking about this thing. Then they need validation. They seriously need validation. I don't know. They thrive on that, on attention, validation, and recognition. They really thrive on that. Yeah. So you know it, right? Then gaslighting and deceit. Yes, this is one of the, I think, their best traits ever, right? They may distort reality to stay in control. So sometimes you talk to people and you know what happened, but they will always make sure that they are twisting stories. So you really struggle to tell your side of the story, right? You have issue with your narcissist partner. You try to explain, but they are always ahead of you because in their mind they're always planning and plotting and making sure that they say things in a very different way and people believe them. It's very easy for people to believe. Okay, so you really have to work hard to 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 also be believed or also be seen in those cases. So yeah, that's how it is. Don't get it twisted. That's how they are. So let's look at the impact they have on others. So relationships can become toxic and draining. That's a fact. That's a fact. Yeah. If you are in a relationship with a narcissist person, you're always going to be drained, always going to be toxic. Like there's no other way. Toxic or nothing. It can't get better, it will always get worse and worse. Yeah. So if you're close to them, if you're close to a narcissist, you will mostly, you know, feel confused, manipulated, and emotionally hurt. This is a fact. It's very difficult to stay around them and be okay. Why? Because they everything they do is to confuse you. You always get confused if your person is always lying on you, you always be confused because they'll be manipulating you here and there. And mind you, their manipulation is always what will be good for them and never for you. Okay, so yeah, you know it, right? That's how it is. Narcissists often create imbalanced relationships where they take more than they give. So I think a normal relationship must be like I give, you give, I give, you give. Unfortunately, in a relationship with these people, I'm sorry for you. It's always going to be them, and never you. You will always be the one giving much, but you will hardly receive. And if you receive, rest assured that they are taking more. So let's simplify it again. A narcissist is someone who prioritize their own ego so strongly that it harms others, and you need to have a very strong strategy to be dealing with them. As I said, it's very hard to win with them. It's very hard to defend yourself. You really need a good strategy to actually break through their control, their manipulations, and their lies. Yeah. So remember, I talked about the book Surrounded by Idiots, right? By Thomas Erikson. Yeah. The Surrounded by Idiots actually gives you the four temperaments, explains the four temperaments. So the choleric, sanguine, melancholy, and phlegmatic, right? Yes. And in order to understand this part of the presentation, you can, let's say, you can read that book and you have a clearer picture of it. But in the meantime, I have it, let's say, summarized very small for you to just have a little bit of understanding. So this is how narcissism shows up in these four temperaments. Okay. So the core trait of a choleric. A choleric is someone who is obsessive, competitive, controlling. A choleric is someone who wants power and results. Okay, so they let see a choleric as your boss that keeps worrying you, to get things done. Yeah, this is a simple example. If that person is a narcissist, this is their version. They're going to be bossy, they're going to be aggressive, they're going to be intimidating. Yes. They believe they're always right. Okay, remember what we talked about previously. They are never wrong, they can't go wrong. Yeah. May bulldoze others to win. Remember we said that a narcissist will always use people to get to where they want, right? Yes. They'll make sure they're using everyone just for them to win, just for them to be where they want to be. I'm sorry. So if your partner is a narcissist and is a choleric, this is what you may be you may be going through. Yes. So in simple, it's like do it my way. I know best. This is how it is. Then let's move on to the sanguine. So if your person is a sanguine and also a narcissist, this is what you'll be seeing. So first, let's look at the traits of a sanguine. Sanguines are people who are very social, very enthusiastic, talkative, loves attention and excitement. They're always happy, those people that they're always happy, love everything, love talking, talkative stories, blah blah blah. Yes. Let's see their narcissist version. So they need to be the center of attention constantly. Exaggerate on stories. Craves admiration. So if you remember not long ago, we talked about how narcissists exaggerate on telling stories, right? Yes. Normally, Even sanguines, since they love talking and they love telling you stories, sometimes they may be, a little bit kind of, you know, spicing stories a little bit up, but narcissists, they are best. So if your partner is a sanguine and a narcissist, good luck on that. You're really going to deal with a lot. In simple, let's say in one sentence, I'll say, look at me. Aren't I amazing? It's always about them. They have to be the center of the attention, right? It's like that. Then let's look at the other two temperaments. So we have phlegmatic, okay? So let's look at their traits. A phlegmatic person is always calm, kind, conflict avoidant. Like they really hate conflict, okay? They'll do everything not to have conflict. Yeah. They value harmony. They love peace. It's all peace and love. They don't want drama, drama free. Yeah, those people, right? Then let's see if they also have narcissistic traits in them. Let's find out. They're going to play victim. They're going to what else? They will use guilt or passive resistance. Hmm. And then avoid responsibility but still want things their own way. Wow, okay, interesting. So let's see in one sentence, what are we going to have? After everything I've done, is this how you treat me? So if you've been hearing this from your partner, you now know where it's coming from. Doesn't mean that everyone who whoever tells you this, it doesn't mean that they are narcissist or they are toxic. No, please, it doesn't. You really have to consider, you have to do a real analysis on how their behavior is before you can conclude that your partner is a narcissist, please. Then we have, oh, my favorite, the melancholy people. Okay, what are their core traits? They are very analytical, detail, detail oriented, structured, values correctness and logic. Okay, let's see. The narcissist version. They become, let's say, become overly critical and judgmental. Thinks they are very smart. They are the smartest people in their room. Okay. Look down on others' mistakes. In one sentence, we have, if you do it properly, this wouldn't happen. Okay. Yeah. So that was it. That was it. Yeah. Interesting, right? There's much on this topic actually. There's so much to talk about when we talk about narcissism. It's there's too much on it, but I think like these are the few things that might be interesting. Okay. You might fall in love with the topic and do your own research a bit more, or we can still talk about it. I will always advise you to go and read the book Surrounded by Narcissists by Thomas Erikson, because I personally believe that it contains so many information, so many research, so much that will help you if you're dealing in with this situation, if you are dealing with a narcissist. Okay. I also advise you to read Surrounded by Idiots. That will break down the four personalities, the four temperaments. You might even find out your own temperament, okay? You might even find out if you are a narcissist. So at the end of the book, you can even take a test and find out, am I a narcissist? Okay, or do I have some level? I personally believe that every human being have a little bit of that that trait in them, but it shouldn't be too much. Okay, it shouldn't be more than it's supposed to be. So yeah, don't get it twisted. Do your research, stay calm, and learn. That was it.